Virtue is not here for the first time ever. He was supposed to be here, but he is nowhere to be found. So we are going to try and do the No DQ review without Virtue. Will he show up? Only time will tell. A little bit of a disaster tonight. Big G thought the No DQ review was starting at 8 o'clock Eastern, and he actually works until around that time. He's not on. He was supposed to be on with us. But Jeff Meacham, Walter Cruz are here. The show must go on with or without Virtue. I am going to moderate. Jeff Meacham, you're here, and you almost forgot the time for tonight. What is going on? Is this No DQ review cursed?
You have to remember, you always run the review 8 o'clock on Sundays here, and so we're all confused by the 7 o'clock start. So you have to give us a little bit of leeway. Us older wrestling fans are used to times set in place by those who came before us. You in particular. So we're trying to keep up with the time shifts of the world. But even though Virtue's not here, even though Big G is not here today, between Walter and me being here, it's gonna feel like a 2-hour show anyway, so we'll be okay.
Josh Mansfield, if you're available, I'll send you the link. You can be on right now. Walter, how's it going? You're ever reliable. You are here tonight. How's it going, man?
I'm all right. I'm good. Mr. Reliable. I called in the last minute. I'm here. Feels weird not to see Virtue up here, but as Vince says, the show must go on. I don't know what's going on with Jeff, but
This is truly cursed. This No DQ. Is the cursed No DQ review. We lost Jeff. Virtue's gone.
I don't know, but everyone, we really need your super chats tonight. You got something you want us to talk about? Super chat and we'll talk about it.
All right. Well, not sure what to do here. Josh Mansfield, private message me and maybe we can try to get you on. Virtue's not here, guys. This is a complete disaster, but we are going to try and get moving with it. Walter, did you see Double or Nothing?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw Double or Nothing.
All right. So I would like to get your overall thoughts on the show. Was it worth the $49.99, the $50? And have you seen the other AEW pay-per-views? Like, where would you rank this one compared to the other ones that you've seen? Go ahead.
This is pretty low on my rankings in terms of comparing to the other ones. I think maybe $30 is where, maybe half, because I think the first hour or so was a bit of too much of a cluster F. Not trying to get you demonetized, but there was too much interference in every match. I think maybe the first 4 matches, I want to say, I could be off, had all shenanigans. Like WWE ran a pay-per-view called Night of Champions. AEW should have ran Night of Shenanigans because that's pretty much all they did throughout the first half of the pay-per-view. Then we got to the meat and potatoes of it, and then it got okay. But this is pretty much pretty low in terms of ranking until that second half. But that first half is what screwed it up for me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I felt like the first half of the show was not exactly up to the standard of AEW pay-per-view events, but the last 2 matches were absolutely fantastic. Josh Mansfield, did you see Double or Nothing? And welcome.
I did not. I watched part of JJ and James and Noah's coverage of it and was listening to part of it. I heard about some of the stuff. I think the Anarchy in the match just went way too overboard, way too stupid. Just nothing, pretty much. But that's all I got to say.
A little bit of delay there on Josh Mansfield's end. Not sure what's going on there. Jeff, I know you did not see the show, but I just wanted to get your overall thoughts on AEW right now as we head into June. Obviously, a very big month for the company with Collision coming up. So what are your overall thoughts on the landscape? And we just lost Josh. This is truly the cursed No DQ review. I'm not even sure if this one's going to count. This might not officially be a No DQ review. Jeff, your overall thoughts right now on the state of AEW as it stands right now heading into Collision?
I'm just trying to think. We had an episode. I don't know if it was on this channel or my JJ's channel. We called it the Cluster F episode. We can just call this one the NoDQ Cluster F. Anyway, I don't know, man. They made a big deal out of announcing in Chicago for Collision before Double or Nothing. That led a lot of people to believe that we were going to see CM Punk on Sunday. We didn't, obviously. I don't know. I still say that the overall landscape of the company hinges on Collision and the follow up to it, and whether they deliver what everybody expects to be delivered in at the United Center. I think that what I read, and I haven't seen the show yet because I was in bed early Sunday night because I had a long Disney day yesterday. But from what I read, it seems like the feedback is not all that good for the first half. Walter, you mentioned the first half was pretty much a train wreck. Second half seemed to come off a little bit better, but the main event delivered a masked man helping the BCC, but it wasn't who we expected to be. And like Takeshita was so out of the thought process at that point that when Cal showed up with him, it's like, oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Like, who really gave it? Right. So it came off very flat to me in reading it. I'm sure it'll seem a little more emotional when I watch it back. At least the main event delivered, from what I heard, a pretty solid 4-way pillars match. So I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with Max retaining. None of those other three guys are ready for that spot yet, especially with Sammy going off to do the paternity leave here relatively soon. It's going to be interesting to see how the next, it's May 30th, how the next 30 days shake out with the company.
Josh, welcome back. Hopefully we'll be able to hear you okay and see you okay. Your camera orientation is a little messed up.
What was that, Aaron? I didn't catch that last part.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
The camera angle.
Oh, very good.
He was telling you the camera angle was a little...
Sorry. I'm on my phone now. My laptop was being screwy, so I had to switch to my phone.
There's still a major lag with him hearing us, too.
No, you're good. I just had the volume turned down really low.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Tito's here, which is funny. Virtue's not here, and that's when Mr. Tito makes his return to the...
They're the same person. I'm telling you the thing.
All right, Josh, I wanted to get your thoughts, and if you can, try to rotate your camera. I wanted to get your thoughts on the overall state. Whoa, he's sideways now. It's not doing it. Jeff, how does he fix that?
I don't know. What are you asking me for?
I would think you hit full screen and then turn your camera.
Hold on. Is it being dumb?
Yeah.
The whole show's being dumb. Oh, Lord.
You might want to leave it before it gets worse, to be honest.
Good work now? No?
Nope.
Is this at all better?
No. Well, I mean, we can... No.
I mean, we'll just run with it. We're just going to run with it. Josh, your overall thoughts on the current state of AEW now with Collision coming up?
I mean, I don't see it, doing much for the product. I truly don't. It's just, they're doing another show on a Saturday in the afternoon. That's not going to get people to watch. It really, even though AEW is apparently getting a lot of money for this, it seems like it's put in a death slot. So, I don't know. Really, it depends on if Punk comes back and if people actually give a crap about Punk coming back. I don't. I truly don't at this point. So, it remains to be seen. I don't think AEW is in a worse state now than they were a year ago. Let's just put it that way.
All right. We're going to move on here and talk some WWE, since I am under the impression that both Jeff and Josh have seen Night of Champions, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. Now, we have a brand new Raw World Heavyweight Champion. His name is Seth freaking Rollins. Now, the question is, who is going to be his first challenger? On Monday's Raw, we really did not get any indication as to who he is going to feud with for the title. He beat Damian Priest and Finn Balor on Raw with the help of SmackDown's AJ Styles. Who's going to step up and face Seth Rollins for that championship? Who will be his first opponent? So, Walter Cruz, I am going to throw it over to you now. Who do you think it's going to be? Who should it be? Who should be the first challenger for Seth Rollins?
I'm not sure who it can be. I kind of, at this point, if Gunther wasn't the IC champion, I would have said him. But he's got another belt. He's got a honky tonks record to chase right now. Once he breaks that, then I think he'll become a world title person or a main eventer. So, it's hard to think. I mean, you got big people there, but that aren't doing crap that shouldn't be. That no one, if Braun Strowman somehow gets this title shot, I know Vince is really pulling strings again. So that'll let you know right there. So we'll see with that. I think that they'll probably end up doing some BS 20-man or 15-man battle royal with the winner getting the first title shot at the next Money in the Bank. I think that's what's going to end up happening, but I can't think of who wins. I got to see the who will be in the battle royal, but I really think that that's what's going to happen. I don't know if it was just because it was Memorial Day or not, and because they expected lower viewers, like you said on your recap, but they had no direction where to go. They took AJ from SmackDown, put him in a weird tag team main event, but maybe someone from Judgment Day will be the first one, since that's what seemed to keep interfering with Seth's. Maybe Finn Balor or Damian Priest.
Damian Priest
got
lost
momentum
on Raw.
from Puerto Rico.
He lost on Raw, though.
But he still got Puerto Rico. They'll find losses don't even matter anymore. They'll find a way to do it.
Bronson Reed lost too. I saw a comment here from Tony Luke. Like nobody's been built up really strong, and Raw is severely lacking some top heels other than Judgment Day, and Rollins already beat Priest on Raw. So Jeff, I want to throw it over to you now. Like, who would you go with if it was your call? And it doesn't look like it's going to be Brock Lesnar because Brock is apparently facing Cody Rhodes again. So what are your thoughts?
Jeez.
Where was Drew McIntyre drafted to?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre. Where is he?
Drew McIntyre's my pick. I thought they gave him a brand designation during the draft.
He's on Raw.
He's on Raw.
Oh, okay, so yeah, Drew's my choice.
Drew McIntyre.
It's only because he's the great unknown right now. We don't know where he stands. We don't know where his mindset is as far as his character goes. We don't know where he stands as far as is he a heel, is he a babyface? It'd be a perfect way to reintroduce him back into the situation. He's been gone long enough where people are curious what's going to happen with him. There's a lot of talk about, there was money, on the table for him that he wasn't getting, that he wanted. And, I think that's the perfect way. Have Seth come out there and be his, cocky Seth Rollins self. And all of a sudden, Drew just lays him out, doesn't say a word, just lays him out, holds the belt up, and then walks off. That's how I would do it on the Raw between now and Money in the Bank.
All right, Josh Mansfield, anything you would like to add to that? What about Randy Orton if he's physically able to do it? He would be a good challenger, right?
If Randy comes back, Randy should finish things with Riddle first, get that done, then put him in a little feud with Cody before Cody wins Money in the Bank. Actually, if Randy comes back now, he needs to feud with Cody first before Cody heads off to SmackDown to beat Roman at MSG. Then Randy needs to figure out things with Riddle. So not Randy. My pick is Balor. I really think Balor's a good pick for Money in the Bank. I would save Drew for SummerSlam. So my pick's Balor.
Fair point. Drew McIntyre coming back for SummerSlam. Jeff?
I would say Randy for SummerSlam if we're going to save somebody. If Randy's ready to go by SummerSlam, put him in the marquee match in Detroit. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, Walter, if let's just say for argument's sake, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are both ready to return in the second half of the year, what order would you go?
I would go Drew first so that Randy can finish things with with Matt Riddle, then Orton. Let me throw a wrench question at you. What if Seth, they do face versus face, and Seth says, hey, and they do Cody, and he says, Cody, you got screwed out of the tournament. Out of respect, because of what we did, I'll give you a title shot, and they shake hands and do a one-on-one title shot.
I think it's a long shot considering the glare they gave each other during the tournament, but why not?
Nah, I don't see it.
This lets you know how lacking Raw is. Look how we're all struggling to think of opponents.
Well, it's not so much. I mean, it is struggling. I'm not going to argue with that, but it's having to pick a heel challenger for a babyface Seth Rollins is it should be the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I got an idea.
Oh,
Who am I talking about?
yeah.
LA Knight, yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah, have him win Money in the Bank and go after Rollins on Raw. He would be my person.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
With the cluster that the brand split is, I can see 3 or 4 SmackDown challengers challenging for this belt. Just
right.
For the heck of it. There's going to be no brand split. It's just going to be SmackDown heels challenging him all of a sudden.
I could see once Sammy and KO lose the belts, I can see them going for Rollins.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility as well. But yeah, hopefully they get some heels lined up and ready to go. They should have been doing that to begin with over the past several months, building up some heels for Seth Rollins. And, well, we really don't have too many options right now. But Logan Paul is another guy they could have come back and face Rollins again.
I was talking about Marquee for Randy. I still don't think Randy's going to be ready by August. So, or, even the build for August. So Logan Paul's one that, again, he signed a long-term contract with the company, introduced him into the back end of the fold. He gave Seth Rollins a solid run for his money at WrestleMania. So why not have him be thrown back in as a challenger and just make people go, oh God, what if he wins the world title? Oh my God. And just have the hardcore internet wrestling fans go, oh no, and have their brains explode.
That would happen if Dominic beat Rollins.
No. I disagree. I disagree 100% with you because Dominic, while he's still got that almost that white hot go away X-Pac heat, he's still a full-time on the roster competitor. If Logan Paul gets even a sniff of a challenge, the people will lose their minds.
Fair enough.
I actually wouldn't mind Dominic getting a title shot. I mean, of course,
I wouldn't either.
Him being in the title shot, I would not mind at all.
Same.
Yeah, him being in the title match would drive people crazy from a fan standpoint. Logan Paul being in the title match would drive people crazy from, oh my God, I'm going to blow my brains out standpoint. That's the difference.
Anyways, I heard from Virtue. Here's his text. He said, shit, thought it was 8.
See?
What happened?
It's not just me. It's not just me, Aaron. This show is on 8 o'clock every Sunday by clockwork, and because we're on a different day and you threw in a different time, this is your bad.
He liked the Facebook post that said it's on at 7, 1 hour before NXT. Big G liked it too.
TJS is rubbing off on everyone.
TJS, what have you done? Okay, Virtue says he'll be on at 7:30.
Okay.
So I guess
once Virtue hops on, I'll hop off.
Okay.
All righty. Well, we'll move on to the next topic here. I guess Virtue will be like Roman Reigns. He'll show up for the main event. That's how we're going to do it here.
As he should. As he should.
All right, guys.
Good.
So we're going to talk about, since we just brought up Brock Lesnar, we are going to talk about Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. Where is this going now? When is their next match going to be? I was thinking Cody Rhodes would go after Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, but are they going to actually do Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam? Are they going to do it at Money in the Bank? But how does Cody get to Roman Reigns if he's not in Money in the Bank? So I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on when this next match is going to happen, when should it happen, and how should it play out, who should win the rubber match. We all knew the rubber match was coming. It's just a matter of when and who's going over in it and where it goes from there. So, Josh, I'm going to go right back to you on this one. Where do you think this is going with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar?
I don't think it should be Money in the Bank. I think they need to wait until SummerSlam, have Cody win Money in the Bank, cash in on Roman and MSG, win the title there, then have Cody versus Lesnar for the title at SummerSlam.
Not a bad
I
idea.
think that's the best way to do it, but it also needs to be a stipulation match. After their past 2 matches, you can't tell me that their last match needs to be just another singles match. No. It needs to be no holds barred at least.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you on that. I think they definitely need to up the ante. Now, you could argue that, well, the title being on the line would be upping the ante, but with all the crazy stuff they've done in the matches, it really should be like a last man standing or something like that if they're going to do a third match with them. Good old JM Jeff Meacham, I will go ahead now and throw it over to you.
I definitely agree with last man standing for Cody and Brock next, because Cody got a quick, not a fluke victory, but we'll call it that, because Brock spent the majority match beating the dog out of him, and then he got a quick one in on the roll up, and then Brock made him pass out, so he wasn't the last man standing. Last man standing is a great stipulation for a feud like this. You have to leave your opponent lane for a 10 count. That's how I would do it. And I still, how do we get into Roman Reigns? How do we get into SummerSlam? I still stand by the Williams theory, the Renegade theory. Get Cody, whether it's the briefcase or not, whether it's contract or not, get him to the Garden against Roman on July 7th on SmackDown, and have him be champion then. And that's how you get to Cody as champion, defending against Brock and coming out the definitive winner of the feud, whether it's last man standing, whether it's a cell match, whatever you want to call it. But SummerSlam is the end of the Cody Brock program. And then, again, long-term threading here. So I'm probably way off on this part of the thinking, but I tend to agree with it. I guess it's my own theory. You try to get to a point where at some point you got to finish the Cody and Seth story, because that's very much unresolved. Yes, Cody won 3 straight. I Quit's a great stipulation option. I just don't like the brutality of I Quit. Number 1. Number 2, with Brock in an I Quit match, I fear for Cody's existence, let alone his championship aspirations, because ask Mick Foley about I Quit matches with bigger stars than him. Whether Seth's the world champion or not, you've got to have some point where Seth goes, yeah, you won the matches, but you were gone for a year after that because I beat the crap out of you so badly. I'm not saying have him go title for title. There you go. That's how you build the Survivor Series. Survivor Series is usually the brand versus the brand. Have the world champion against the WWE champion, and there's also an underlying story of it's still Cody and Seth. So you get Cody to Roman at SmackDown at the Garden, then to Brock at SummerSlam, and then you build to Survivor Series.
Now, I do want to make it clear, because people have been asking about it in the chat room. Roman Reigns is, in fact, being advertised for the SmackDown at MSG. I would still be surprised if they end up going with the title match there, but we will see. And we do have a super chat from Psycho Jet Black. He says, my fear is that they'll have Roman Reigns versus Cody planned for WrestleMania 40, only for Dwayne Johnson to show up for a match, screwing Cody out of the title match.
I still don't think they're going to wait that long for Roman Cody. JJ's made it a kind of a laughing thing, but also I think he's serious about it. If the theory doesn't play out where Cody becomes champion at the Garden, he has agreed to Noah Foster to subscribe to Believing in Joe Hendry on Impact Wrestling. So there is that. And yes, I am aware of that fact. Hell, I made that graphic for Virtue. So it's
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of Virtue.
Speaking of Evelyn Shallop here.
We've been waiting almost 30 minutes. Better late than never.
That's right.
Without further ado, let's introduce him to come in right in the nick of time to discuss Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Ladies and gentlemen, Virtue is here. He has come to the NoDQ review. Welcome back, Virtue.
Hey, better late than never. I threw my back out, so I'm glad to be here and not in the emergency room or urgent care.
Yeah, you know.
Gentlemen, what's going on? NoDQ Galaxy. Let's just pick up. Let's just keep going with this. Where are we at? Cody and Brock?
Cody and Brock Lesnar. What do you think's going to happen? And then you could take over the moderating for the main event. We did everything but the main event.
Well, it's clear they're 1-1. They're not going to just end this, right? And who knows when the rubber match is going to be. And I know Jeff has his theory. He wants Cody to win Money in the Bank, cash in at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Everybody else, hey, let Cody beat Roman at SummerSlam. Okay, that could still happen, but I'm telling you, now we have Brock Lesnar rubber match, and I think Cody's going to win the series, but I'm thinking SummerSlam now. I'm thinking we might not see Cody and Roman until next year. I don't know. I'm not going to guarantee that, but I'm telling you, this Brock thing has went longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think that, like Virtue said, if
where'd Josh Mansfield go, by the way?
He was just filling in for you to be the fourth person.
All right. I didn't even say hello or goodbye. All right.
So thank you, Josh Mansfield. We appreciate you filling in.
My streak is alive. I'm still on every episode of the review, whether myself or El Virtuoso.
Yeah, we were calling it the cursed review because Big G forgot the time. You were late. Jeff forgot the time for a moment. We were having technical difficulties at the beginning, but we've recovered. And we're back on track now, so let's get into it. The 7 o'clock start times are a little bit weird. I'll admit that, but that had nothing to do with why I was late. Unfortunately, I don't like when I don't let the real world in all the time. But I had a little bit of an injury. I hate being vulnerable, but anyway, let's carry on.
Well, I mean, Virtue, you threw your back out. You've been carrying this show on your back for so many episodes. It's got to go out. I mean, Jesus.
I'm in some pain right now. But we're gonna carry on.
All right. Real quick, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, another fear is they'll do Cody versus Roman at SummerSlam only for Bray Wyatt to screw Cody out of the match, leading to a meaningless feud. I mean, I
think that's more likely than Cody and Roman at 40.
I mean,
sadly.
Do we even want to see Bray Wyatt back? I mean, I know Virtue, you want Bray Wyatt to come back, but at what capacity? What's he going to do?
If he's mentally ready and he's ready to silence the critics, meaning he's going to have to change some things, then I want him back.
I agree.
I'm going to just leave it at that.
Alexa Bliss is pregnant, so it doesn't look like there's going to be any alliance with them.
I saw that news today.
Very happy for her. And
Brock and Cody 3, man. I'm sensing possibly SummerSlam, and that who knows? Maybe it could be a triple threat match with Roman Reigns. I mean, you never know what they could do, but it's interesting now.
Virtue, whether Cody has the contract, the briefcase, whatever you want to call it, or not at the Garden, is it completely out of the realm of your possibility that Cody can walk out of the Garden beating Roman there on SmackDown as champion because it's not on pay-per-view or premium event?
It's never out of the possibility, but you got to look at Madison Square Garden. Yes, Jeff, I get it. The whole Dusty Rhodes thing to finish the story. Is that how they're going to end this lengthy title reign, though, on a SmackDown? Again, Madison Square Garden aside, the whole story aside, SmackDown on Friday night. When was the last time a major title changed hands on SmackDown?
Long time.
Brock Lesnar over Cody. Brock Lesnar over Kofi Kingston.
We were there, Jeff.
We were there, brother. Yeah.
If that was a PLE, I'd be like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? Could you imagine if that was SummerSlam?
Right. Well, no, and I get that, but here's my counter to that. We've been hearing about, they're still negotiating the new deal for television that's going to expire at the end of this year or end of next year. If Fox wants to have a reason to keep WWE around, well, hell, have the greatest title reign in recent memory fall on their network.
I mean, again, I've been saying Cody will beat Reigns at some point, right?
Right.
Every time everybody gets anxious and excited for it, I don't want it to. I want it to happen. I want it to happen when they don't expect it. Him winning Money in the Bank as soon as his music hit, they know what can happen. I don't know. It's tough for them to figure out the right way, man.
Walter brought up a good point when we were waiting to come in the room before everybody had tech issues or lateness or whatever. Walter's wanting to push that button on Ticketmaster to buy his ticket for the Garden show, but they're not announcing anything for sure. Even if it is as late as the Monday before, whether Cody wins the briefcase or he announces it before or he finds a way to get the shot before, if they announce it even a few days beforehand, they will get people. Walter lives close enough where he can, you know, I mean, he can take time off of work, but I'm just saying for the general people, they'll find a way to buy the ticket on a Monday and get it to New York on a Friday.
Oh, well, Jeff,
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying this right now. If that match is announced for SmackDown, I'm buying a ticket for Madison Square Garden. I will go.
Wow, that's quite a trip. I mean, it's not, it's far, but
And look, Aaron, what's our main event going to be tonight? The whole Roman
The
bloodline.
Bloodline, I saved it
So-
for last, knowing it was the main event and knowing you would want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to ask you, though, Virtue, if you had anything to say about the other topic, which involves Seth Rollins and the World Heavyweight Championship. We talked about possible people like maybe Drew McIntyre being his first challenger, maybe Randy Orton when he's ready to come back. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on
So
that?
Seth winning, not the surprise, right? I mean, being
Right.
exclusive to Raw, that made sense. The whole fact that he wrestled AJ, who was on SmackDown, and that's just weird. I'm still going with I'm going with my gut, and because he beat him at WrestleMania, I still think Logan Paul is going to come in here and continue a feud with Seth Rollins. Maybe he wins it and holds it for a little bit, takes it on his podcast. You know how they roll. Maybe he doesn't because they want to see. Here's the thing: Seth is a busy man now too, going to do things. I don't know, man. McIntyre, I just can't put until I see him back working.
Right.
I can't put him on there. Owens and Xander in the tag title picture. I just don't know. So I default to Logan Paul right now.
Yeah, and he could win Money in the Bank.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say, Virtue doesn't say Logan Paul.
Right?
Well, no, I was pointing out before you came in, Virtue, that the having to try to figure out a babyface, a heel opponent for a babyface Seth Rollins is a lot harder than picking a babyface or a babyface opponent for a heel Seth Rollins. That would be a lot easier because that's just what we're naturally inclined to think for Seth Rollins to be that bad guy facing a babyface. But there's just
When you guys were talking about
there's
that
still few
topic,
options.
when you were talking about that topic, were people saying Logan Paul in the chat? Anybody?
Yes.
Like, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
It's
No,
gut.
no.
It's WWE
Yeah.
instinct is to do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
It's
That's
one of
what I
the main debate for that was Dominic versus Logan Paul, and I pointed out Dominic getting the title shot would make the WWE fans go, "Oh God, not this!" But it would still be interesting. Logan Paul getting the shot would be people nuclear. It'd be like, "Oh God," and people would like lose their minds thinking it could actually happen. So,
I mean, if Dominic got in that mix, he would definitely lose, is what I think.
right.
That's what I said. I said it'd be fun to see Dominic, but he'll lose, but it'll be fun to see it.
Yeah.
That's it on that for me, Aaron.
Now, Virtue, we did talk about AEW fairly briefly because get this, Jeff came on, Josh Mansfield came on, but neither of them saw Double or Nothing. So they had not too much to say about the overall state of AEW. Virtue, anything you wanted to say about it? Like, what were you going to bring up to the table for that?
MJF is still the champ.
Yep.
The one thing, you know me, I'm not going to pay the money to watch. If it ends up being on Max one day, I'll be watching the whole things. But I follow what I
Right.
see on social media, the clips on YouTube, whatever they put on there, and you can see the results and see the main spots of the match. And I saw a lot of blood. I saw the exploding super kick. And that's what AEW wanted to do with that show. Then so be it. MJF is still the champion. That's my takeaway. You know, I saw Jade Cargill lost her little streak there and her title.
Yeah.
And so much for that. So Wardlow, I guess, had a good showing. So
Yeah.
I was happy to hear about that.
Yeah.
And watch the clips from that. MJF is still their champion, and I still want CM Punk to be part of Collision. That's
Yeah.
where I'm at
Right.
with AEW.
Yeah.
If it ends up being more shows on Max, great. Then I'll watch the whole pay-per-views if they ever do that.
Virtue, speaking of MJF and CM Punk, like, I know they're doing this whole surprise deal with CM Punk's return, but we already saw that. We already saw him make the surprise appearance
That's
in
true.
Chicago. I think they should not only announce CM Punk returning in advance, but I think they should do CM Punk versus MJF at the United Center for the title for the first Collision. They should give that away
Wow.
on television because people are already saying, oh, this show's a bad time slot. Nobody's going to watch this secondary show. Well, what better way to make this a must-see show than to have CM Punk challenge for the title versus MJF in Chicago? at the United Center. People
What
would
do you
tune
think
in for
if
that.
they do that? What do you think they should do with the title? Have MJF beat him clean,
Yes.
or have maybe somebody interfere?
Maybe somebody interfere, but I think MJF should retain the title. I know it's not the hometown guy winning, but man, that would get MJF back on track as a heel if he beats
Right.
But yes, Aaron, do it. Do it. Is Collision a 2-hour show?
Yes.
Every week? Do it. Like you got to, man. You have
and that
to
would be MJF, or not MJF, that would be CM Punk's way of, in a way, apologizing to the fans, apologizing to the locker room, putting over MJF clean, and then he has to start from scratch and build himself back up.
And it's
Walter.
MJF. I don't think he's got a problem with MJF. And behind
no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No.
I would have someone interfere though. We always thought that there's the gimmick with Miz having tiny balls, but I think Tony Khan does, because what I would do is I would have someone from the Elite interfere with that damn match. Have Kenny Omega or somebody interfere with that match, cost Punk that match, and then you shift it over to Punk versus Omega.
Walter,
that's how you get to Punk Omega for Wembley.
That's if the children can act like professionals. That's the key there.
He's right.
That is the key. That would be the best.
But that's a great way to build for that length of time virtue between then and Wembley for Punk Omega to be one of the main events of Wembley Stadium. That's brilliant. Aaron, did Walter talk about Brock and Cody?
I didn't.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Sorry. Anything you would like to say, Walter?
This is where I hate these gimmick pay-per-views, and we watered down and we got so desensitized, because you know what would be the perfect to end Brock and Cody? A freaking Hell in a Cell, because that's how you end rivalries. But because all these years of having the damn PLE Hell in a Cell and the Red Cell, and we've been desensitized and it's watered down, that it wouldn't mean crap at this point if you did that. But if they didn't ruin the Hell in a Cell gimmick, that's how you would end this rivalry to me. But because I want LA Knight to win the Money in the Bank, I'd rather see Brock and Cody fight one-on-one at Money in the Bank and figure out some other way to get Cody over to Roman, because I want LA Knight to win the Money in the Bank. That's the only reason I say that.
Yeah. Could be Logan Paul that wins Money in the Bank. I still think he's my favorite to win.
He's up
and
there.
Even with overusing the cell, Walter, you have to remember that we did have a classic quote unquote Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. So
yeah, we did. But even then, it's watered down. It's so desensitized.
Oh no, it is. It is. I'm just saying they're trying to scale back. It sounds like, but then they throw a cell match at WrestleMania. It's like, well, we're scaling back. We're going to have it on the main show of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
all right.
And then you throw in the whole, hey, last time he was in the Hell in a Cell, he had a torn pec. There's so many stories you throw in this. Now what's going to happen? Now, see, you can do it, but it's been
And keep in mind too, and we're going to be talking about the Bloodline. If they are going to go full-fledged internal Bloodline feud between now and SummerSlam, what better time to take the title off Reigns? He reached 1,000. Exactly. Let's see if we see 1,000-day shirts soon. Aaron, if they got all this way and didn't market anything like that, but let's give it time. Maybe they'll debut him on SmackDown.
Yeah. Oh, and Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat with an idea. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, career versus title.
You know, that'd be JJ. Yeah. Whenever JJ brought up that similar type thing as far as loser leaves town. That's the same basic, concept, career versus title. I think, and again, that's kind of what he did with the AEW World Championship, where he couldn't challenge for it again. That's basically a sacrifice in your career. And as a company, if you can't challenge for the world title, what the hell are you doing there? But Cody wins this time, because, like I said, if they're still going toward that, the Bloodline feud virtue that you mentioned, and if they're trying to get to the point where Reigns gets his actual time away, that's the way to do it for me.
Does he need time away, though, when he has this schedule?
Well, no, but...
Do they really ever need, you know what I mean? Even Brock Lesnar, they go away, and then they come back a couple months later. Yeah. It's full time than I did, but I don't know, man.
Yeah. I'd still rather see Cody versus Brock at SummerSlam and have the Bloodline story climax at SummerSlam, too. What's your thought right now?
You're contingent on if Cody wins a title at Madison Square Garden and defends it against Brock,
like I said,
SummerSlam.
No. Even if Cody and Brock is not for the title, that should be the next time they face off at SummerSlam.
Okay. I mean, I agree.
And only because their other two matches have been on the lower tier PLEs. Put them at SummerSlam, and that way you get the Bloodline feud, which has been the dominant feud of WWE for well over 2.5, almost 3 years, coming to a head at SummerSlam in a big stadium in front of 80, whatever it is, how many people are at Ford Field, 80,000 people, whatever. You have the Bloodline story commence or conclude, and you have Cody Brock conclude, same show. That's a big 2 selling point matches for SummerSlam, which is supposed to be the second biggest show of the year.
And then it'll be double main event.
Right. Looking this shit for them, guys. Jeez.
There you go. All right, so we've covered pretty much everything up until the main event, Virtue. So you want to go ahead and take it away?
So main event time, of course, just like Roman Reigns showing up for the main event spot and then leaving. No. All right, so the Bloodline at Night of Champions, Roman and Solo were going for the tag titles, and of course the Usos came down trying to help. Ultimately, Roman was shoving his, authority muscle around as the Bloodline leader and said, get out of here, and didn't ask for your help, pushing Jimmy and Jay. And guess what? Jimmy snapped, kicked Roman a couple times, and they ended up losing the match. Of course, Solo took the pin as Roman was kneeling outside of the ring. And here we are with now here's the thing. The Bloodline, for the last several months, you've had kind of the Usos on the outside looking in, right, since WrestleMania. So you had Solo, Roman, and Heyman. So they're still kind of a thing. Now you got this thing against the Usos, though, going full bore, and we're going to have to see how this plays out Friday on SmackDown because it's the 1,000-plus day celebration for Roman Reigns, but now you have the turmoil within the Bloodline, and you see Rikishi making posts. I can see Alpha Sika and down the road, Rock, I don't know, but at least the internal closer family that's not big time Hollywood like Dwayne, I think they could get involved with some TV time here. And Friday's going to paint a pretty good picture of where we're going to go with this. What does everybody else think, though? What's next with this Bloodline angle based on what happened and where we could go? Friday night could tell a lot, Jeff Meacham. What do you think?
I think Friday is the sorry, I tried to unmute and then unmute again. Friday is the turning point, one way or the other, because Roman made a point of dedicating the tag title win in Saudi Arabia to his father and uncle, Afa and Sika. Sika can walk out there, a part of this family thing, and go, "Oh, so you dedicated that match to me? How'd that go for you?" And just be, and Sika could be on that side of the fence, and Rikishi could walk out there, and as they're getting in Jimmy and Jay's space, Rikishi can stand up for his boys, and everybody in the Anawahi's family is just at each other for that main event 1,000-day celebration segment. But that's how you get to this match at SummerSlam or whenever they're going to do it. This has to be the beginning of the end. We started it. It started after Payback in 2020 with Jay and then Jimmy going against Roman and bucking the system, and they came together and they've been, like you said, Virtue, unraveling more so since WrestleMania, but really since the Sammy thread of the chain really started to unravel after the Royal Rumble. This has been leading up to for a long time. I'm looking forward to see how it plays out Friday, even though I'm working and it sucks. Making money is never bad, but definitely DVR and SmackDown. I'm looking forward to watching it when I get back.
Jeff, do you think is there any light at the end of the tunnel where all of this whole internal drama is to just use the Usos as, oh my God, they still are with the Bloodline to help Roman keep the title even longer at some point? You know how Heyman is back and forth all the time with trying to trick people. Could that be a consideration? Only reason why I say that is, remember, I keep going with the press conference that they had after WrestleMania, and Roman Reigns kept saying the third inning. Right. If they're only at the third inning, they're only in the fourth or the fifth inning right now. And that means there's so much left that they want to tell from the story. I don't think it needs to happen. Like they can definitely keep the dissension going. But I'm just saying, you know how it goes. Like next thing you know, the whole Bloodline are together again. Roman's still champion when everybody expected that was a time Roman was going to drop the titles. Are they good? Are they milking this title reign to be even longer? What does he have to do to pass Hogan? What's the next closest one? Hogan?
Pedro, and that's only a couple hundred days away. So
I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I got
No, I'm
thrown
sorry.
out there.
It's 1,027. So it's literally again Money in the Bank.
Away.
Would have he what's that?
I said less than a month away. Yeah.
I was going to say Money in the Bank. He will have passed Pedro already. So I still say starting at SmackDown this Friday to the SmackDown at the Garden on July 7th is really how things are going to really play out for the Bloodline. Whether they have the blow off match at SummerSlam, whether that's what we think is going to be the end of the feud, and then they carry to 40 because you mentioned they were in the third inning of WrestleMania this year. They could go as far as WrestleMania next year and have some facet of the story still be played out. It's again, Virtue, you make a great point. A lot of things are still to be determined.
Say it's the split, the divide is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Can Roman and Solo, who can they add? Can they add anybody? I mean, Naomi's not there anymore. You have the Rock's daughter and NXT. Can they build?
She's still. Yeah, I would say bringing in if they could tame him enough. Jacob Fatu is still out there. There's a lot of Anawahi boys still out there in the Indies that they could bring in and keep this thing going as long as they want to, man. As long as the Anawahis keep producing babies, they can keep the storyline going for 100 years. I mean, for real though, they could. Never say never. That's it.
All right, Walter. I won't forget about you here on this one. All right, go.
I can't wait till SmackDown. This is going to be awesome. There's so many turns they go. I think Solo is the big key here and can become a star based off this if you do it right. I think Jimmy and Jay will turn against Roman and they'll keep trying to get Solo. And like, we're brothers, man. That's just your cousin. We're brothers. And then the story will flip to, well, is Solo on Roman's side or is he on the Uso sides? And then weeks and weeks will keep going by where it looks like Solo's always on Roman. And then something happens that flips, and then Solo will end up joining his brothers and Roman will be left alone. And then the Roman Empire finally crumbles from within him. I think that's the key story right here. And you make a big ass star out of Solo because the Usos were however many times tag team champions already. Roman's already established. The only one that really has a peg to jump up to is Solo. So you got to do something with Solo, I think. And this is how you build a star. And eventually, after it crumbles, if The Rock has availability, you take the titles off Roman, and eventually you get to The Rock versus Roman over the Anoa'i family honor. And you make it more about honor than championships. Because if you make it about the championships, you all automatically know Rock's going to lose because they know way Rock's going to be a champ when he's part-time like that.
With you saying that, if that is a possibility, and what we've talked about for the last couple of years actually would happen at a WrestleMania, Rock and Reigns, there's no way it happens unless Reigns just like obliterates the Uso. Like he literally has to dominate being that like leader of that tribe to give The Rock a reason to come in. Like, you know what I mean? So I can't see Roman being vulnerable, like losing the title vulnerable. Okay. But like, I can't see his family one-upping him. He's going to have to get so dastardly to where maybe he's like ripping his family apart. And that's where The Rock would come in. If that even happens, that might not. This might be what it is. Who we have in place.
But I really think Solo is the biggest key right here. Like he's the only one that really has another rung in the ladder to get up to, because the Usos were already main event Jimmy, main event Jay. Solo's got to be the guy you put a rocket ship in the back to. Now you can even push him to the main event now. Like Solo is the biggest beneficiary of this feud right now if you do it right.
And let's be honest, was it 2020 SummerSlam when Roman returned?
Yep.
And so we're going to be at the 3-year mark.
Later. Yeah.
We're at a 3-year mark of a story. Like literally, that just doesn't happen in wrestling since back in the way back. They stick with something and run with it this long. I mean, that's a good length of time. And I know some fans want to see a payoff soon. They're like, what can they possibly do if they don't pay it off and get this thing to a conclusion? But
Mega Powers was really only a little over a year. And that was one of the biggest stories they ever ran with. The NWO, before it became like, oh, God, enough already. Little over a year, maybe 2 at most, before it was like, okay, that's enough of this shit.
And they haven't done that with the Bloodline. It's not like they've added.
No, they can't.
Solo is really the only one that they've added.
And and Virtue Solo. I called Solo the keystone. Given that on the open mic night where we talked about Bloodline, he is that stone where you pull that stone out and everything crumbles, or if you solidify that stone in place, everything is bolstered and stronger. So Solo's the key. He is.
All right, Walter, were you all set with your thoughts?
Yeah.
Over to you, Aaron.
All right, we do have a few super chats. I will get to those. Emmanuel sent in a couple. First one, and thank you for the super chats. He says, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa like Batista versus Triple H, but no struggle. I think it's definitely similar to Batista and Triple H, that kind of scenario.
Yeah. It's definitely a younger the talent being brought up from basic obscurity. You figure where Batista was, he was freaking Reverend Devon's deacon when he got placed into Evolution. I mean, Roman
main evented with Jay. He's gonna find a way to main event something with Jimmy, and then
especially now
he's gonna main event with all of them somewhere, whether he beats them all or whatever, just to be, hey, I got my family to the main event. That's what I think will happen.
You can do 3 back-to-back main events. You go one PLE versus Jimmy, one PLE versus Jay, and the final one is Solo when you finally get him to realize what Roman's trying to do.
And the tag match, Usos versus Roman and Solo.
Forgive my ignorance to the chat here from Eddie. Is one of the girls of Destiny part of the Anawahi family? I remember that being a thing, but I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat room can let us know.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's Anawahis all throughout the industry, man. Just keep on plugging them in.
Right. And his second super chat here, by the way, said, no 1,000 Days shirt in the shop yet. Hopefully by SmackDown.
Yes.
Like, that's going to be crazy, Virtue, after all that talk, and they don't make the 1,000 Days shirt. Like, to me, that would be
insane. They have those towels that in Saudi Arabia, they'll have the fans had.
Yeah, but I mean, like an actual shirt. Like, to me, that's
I agree.
Earning money, right?
Well,
absolutely.
That was what how I convinced myself they'd get there. It doesn't. I mean, shirt or no shirt, they got there, but I figured they would do it for the marketing purpose. So that would be strange if they get there.
They'll probably have it in the concession stands for the people there at SmackDown, and then it'll go online after SmackDown.
Yeah,
maybe that's true.
Tune into SmackDown, right?
Yeah,
a couple reasons now.
I'm very intrigued about this storyline. Just when you thought maybe it was starting to slow down a little bit after WrestleMania, Night of Champions happens, and we're back in high gear with this rivalry between the Usos and their cousin Roman Reigns, and this has been going on for years now, as you guys mentioned, going back almost 3 years to SummerSlam 2020. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes next and the possibilities for matches. We could see maybe Roman Reigns versus Jimmy Uso with Jay as the referee. Is he going to side with his cousin or is he going to side with his brother? We could see the tag match. And wrestling always does well when there's dysfunctional families. Remember the McMahon family? That was huge business. The NWO, they were like a family. And when they were having their problems, you had the Wolf Pack and NWO Black and White. Like they drew big numbers with the family feuding and not getting along. It's a male soap opera, and that's what the storyline is with the Bloodline. It is a soap opera, and I'm loving it. And I'm very curious to see where they go next with this. And I think the ultimate goal, as we talked about earlier with Batista, I think the ultimate goal of all this is to make the Usos bigger stars than they were. And they're already big stars, but as Walter said, to really take Solo Sikoa to the next level. What if it's him that beats Roman for the titles? Like, I would not be shocked at this point. Jeff?
There was somebody mentioned in the chat about Solo being the one and Paul grooming Solo to turn on Roman and have Solo be the next Paul Heyman guy just on his own. And like, you know what? It seems simple and almost like a cop out, but man, the whole allegory of Hunter and Batista, it's a thread through time. The father becomes the son. Like it's this whole like biblical shit. It's just have him do it. It'd be great.
Yeah, Walter.
As that works perfectly, because guess what? After Roman disappears for a while, guess what you have him do? Come back as that sympathetic babyface everybody wants to cheer. And because Solo is now that man that's been evil.
Exactly. I said it when he came back when he was in remission from cancer. It's like, oh God, they can't boo him now. If he was being booed again by Mania, it's like, damn, these people are foul.
That's
He
the
comes
promo.
back and said that.
That's
Yeah.
a promo I can't wait for. When Roman goes away, Bloodline's gone, and he comes back down the road after that as a baby face, and what he says to the audience to keep them, because remember they were 50-50 on him before he became Bloodline leader. Like they just Roman again, the next John Cena. You can't cut a promo, blah blah blah, and it's going to be very because he's earned people's respect during this run.
I was going to say, and to be fair, when John lit him up like a Christmas tree during that promo where he was packing on his promos, he was 100% right. Roman could have cut a promo to get himself out of a wet paper bag with both punches. He's there now. And he comes back and tries to cut a promo now. They're not going to boo him out of the building for 10 minutes like he did against Undertaker. They'll let him have his say. What he says there will determine his fate. Good stuff. I love this stuff. I love that it's still a thing with Roman. It's so cool.
Yeah, and I think this feud is going to go on for the remainder of the year. Now, we could see Cody Rhodes challenge for the title to interrupt things and try to take advantage. Cold Steel Rails asked about Bray Wyatt in the chat room. I don't see that happening. If anybody other than the Bloodline is getting in the mix with Roman, it's going to be Cody. And I think the focus otherwise is going to be with the Bloodline. We don't even know if Bray's coming back, quite frankly. So if Bray does come back, I think it's more likely he's on Raw, maybe going after Seth Rollins, something along those lines.
Well, we know that other than that cell match that was what it was, those two have good chemistry together. So I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they avoid cells.
Yeah. Red cell constructors, not so much. Everything else, we're good.
And we'll see what happens. Maybe The Rock returns and they can tell that story. But yeah, I think for the remainder of the year, it's going to be Roman and the Bloodline, and we're going to see the twists and turns. And I think one by one, Roman's going to lose his guys. And like Walter said, the Empire will crumble by the end.
Oh, yes.
And it's just a matter of when.
Aaron, you brought up The Rock. When we were talking about the culmination of the Bloodline story, I think you and I, and maybe here on the show about a year or so ago, we need The Rock. We don't need The Rock anymore. I'm good. If he comes, great. If he shows up, great. I'm happy that he shows up.
I just think if he doesn't show up for 40, then it's time to let it go and let's just drop it.
If 40 would be great because it's Philadelphia. The Rock has had major moments in his career in Philadelphia, especially the match against Austin. But even if he doesn't, I'm not as upset about it as I would have been a year ago when I know, okay, he's not coming. If he shows up, that's awesome. But if he doesn't, I'm not going to be like I would have been.
But in Philly, it'll be a full circle after the whole booed Roman when Rock raised his hand. It's like almost like, dude, it writes itself. It's right there.
Again, one of JJ's best phrases on our shows is long-term storytelling. That was, by the time we get to Mania next year, that will have been 9 years since that Royal Rumble.
Another super chat.
No, we're caught up, so we're good here.
Ready to go do our plugs?
Yeah, I mean, it's NXT time. I know people want to watch NXT, and we managed to get through the review despite some issues. So thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. We very much appreciate it.
So wait, what happened? So what happened with Big G? Did he think it was a different time?
Yeah, he thought it was 8.
Walter, I will start with you. Go ahead and do your plugs.
All right, thank you for having me again, and always having me in mind when you guys need a backup. I appreciate that. My Twitter there is at Walter Alex Cruz, and then on Instagram you can see me at Cal Fire Farms. And that's it. Have you on as
Thanks always
again for having me. Yeah,
no problem, Mr. Reliable. All right, Jeff Meacham.
All right, I'll go through as quick as I can here because we had a couple time changes. So, Dad's this week for Friday is not going to be live next Monday night at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific because our taping schedule is garbage this week. Greg Cherry show tomorrow will be the last show for a full-time appearance for our other analyst, Matty Laws. His work schedule changed, so he's got a different schedule. That'll be tomorrow. Talk Wrestling, because it's not on tonight because we're doing this tonight, will be this Thursday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. So check it out over on NoDQ, here on NoDQ, as well as the Multiverse of Media. And then up top, you can see JJ's reviews for the week. He's finishing out John Wayne this week and starting off his Johnny Depp month with Rybaby on Friday. So check it out over at Cassian Studios, and that's what we got on the Multiverse for the moment.
All right. thanks for being here like you always are when we need you.
I try, brother. I try.
Not Big G. All right, Aaron, over to you.
Big Jeff. We'll call it Big J. Mr. J. Why not?
Thank you to Josh Mansfield for filling in for Virtue during the opening. And there's his Twitter account if you would like to follow him, Catholic Josh 22. We appreciate it, Josh. And thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you to the NoDQ Galaxy for sticking with us throughout the shenanigans tonight. And I think we'll be back on our normal time slot Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern. And I guess
8 p.m. Eastern.
For future reference, we're going to try to do Sunday as much as possible, but on the nights where there's an AEW show or WWE show, we're going to run on Tuesday at 7, 1 hour before NXT. Jeff, what time is it if it's on Tuesday?
Tuesday at 7 o'clock, right before NXT on the East Coast.
Walter?
7 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
He was ready to go. He was here.
When we do them on Saturdays, sometimes is it 7 or 8?
8. We do 7 to avoid going head-to-head with NXT for the most part. We do run over.
Yeah, we did another one on a Tuesday not too long ago, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, this was crazy. This was
yeah.
wild. I'm not sure what happened. We just had several people forget the proper time, but it's all good. Thank you again, and we'll be back on track this Sunday for a while. We should be until Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door.
We're going to have to change things around that week. But for most of June, we'll be Sunday night at 8, our normal time slot. So thank you all again, and we'll see you next time. Virtue?
Go to nodq.com/merch to check out all the merchandise and T-shirts. There might be a new NoDQ review one up there by 4th of July. We'll see.
There you go. Cool.
And, of course, follow me on Twitter if you dare at NoDQ_virtue. For Walter Cruz, Jeff Meacham, Aaron Rift, and the whole crew and Big G, who probably would be getting ready to start the show right about now, Colin, Andrew, Jargo, Robbie Vice, and everybody, I'm Virtue. Thank you for joining and listening to the NoDQ review, and we will see you again next time. Have a good night, everybody.